But to me, death is not a fearful thing, it's living.
Hello, book people! So I'm finally doing a bookshelf tour. I'm about to move home from school and I just have this tiny little bookshelf with me, though it is packed with books, and I've yet to actually do a video on it. Kind of the short specs are that it's arranged by color, as you can see, though still kind of not really arranged in any order at all. And I used to have a lot more knickknacks on it, but I've started to move home slowly, so it's kind of cleared off, which is fine because now the books are more accessible. And I'm hoping to build a bigger bookshelf in my room at home at the beginning of the summer, so hopefully sometime soon I can do like a full bookshelf tour. But for now, here's what we have. Kind of excited to do this because I haven't yet, and we all love bookshelf tours, so here we go. Here we have a shelf of orange and white books. And in front of them, we have this tiny little Orthodox icon and a terrifying rabbit and a seashell that's got barnacles. There it is. And I was gonna do like a regular bookshelf tour, but I don't know if I really want to do book by book overviews, so we're gonna hit my favorites or highlights. So this very first book on the shelf is stuck because there's so many things on it. So next to it is Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, which was my Valentine for my boyfriend, so I'm really excited to read it. And then this book I mentioned in my New York Art Haul video, it's the Czarina Paper Like Skin catalog, and it's one of my just most treasured books. One of the highlights is Andaleva's Methods and Theories of Art History, which I realize is maybe not like the most traditional bookshelf favorite, but it's one of mine. And then we've got The Secret Life of Words and Quiet Please, which the first one's from Grandpa, the second one you might remember from the library book sale. And they're both kind of about like loving words and loving books, so those will be really enjoyable. And then next to it, let me move these things, is my Raymond Chandler Omnibus. And this is a book of 4 Raymond Chandler stories that also my boyfriend got me in New York City. So he's an American classic. I look forward to finishing some of those. Then over here we have brown and white books, which of course makes a lot of organizational sense. We've got a saint candle, some sand from the Mediterranean. This is tea from Spain, as well as, what's going to be next? Oh yes, this tiny little mirror that I got at a thrift store. Yay, I kind of like having a mirror on the bookshelf. And then we've got my father's pipe that I think is so pretty, and just another seashell that is kind of cool to look at. To hit some highlights on this shelf, which tend to be more like philosophy or theology based, but not always, this book Fool's Russian. It is a history of the Ivies, how they all started as seminaries and now they're not. And then kind of over here we have like an old family book of Native American Indian poetry that I'm excited to read. And then my other favorite is also a poetry book. If I can reach it, this is why you shouldn't have so much stuff on your bookshelf. This is a small poetry book that I got in New York City. It's all poems about New York City, so that was really charming and I had to take it home with me. And oh, back here we have my Fat F. Scott Fitzgerald collection. So I'm super pumped about that. Below are black books. They tend to be art history, art theory, or just general nonfiction. And the only knick-knack here is this really pretty white octopus, because why wouldn't you have a white octopus on your bookshelf? So to kind of give highlights of this section, a lot of these I actually haven't read that aren't art books, including The Devil in the White City. I'm so excited to read this. I might have mentioned this before. It's about the serial killer at the Chicago World's Fair in 1894, I believe. It's called The Devil in the White City because this was the first time when there were like a ton of light bulbs. As you can see, it looks really white, and there were so many people that he was able to get away with it. It's very creepy. Can't wait to read it. On this pile, there's a lot of art history books. The history, what is this? The Art of Art History is a good one, and the Art History and Its Methods book I had for that art theory class and read them both. Really wedged in here, so hard to get out, is my William Blake book. This is the Book of Urizen, and it is his poetry and drawings. I'm excited to reread this because I didn't read it very carefully, but it's beautiful and the artwork is fantastic. William Blake is a wild dude. So that is one. Let's see. I mentioned a bunch of these in the recent like library book sale haul, so I won't talk about them again. Over here we have some new favorites. We've got The Cloister Walk. That's a book that I read once for a class and really enjoyed. The other day I got this book. It's a really kind of big book on the history of Manhattan. It's called Low Life. It's by Luc Sante, I believe his name is. And it's broken into 4 parts. It talks about like the history of the island, the history of the mob, like some cool stuff. It's really fat, got a nice design. That'll be a summer read. An old favorite next to it is Kind Products. My Name is Asher Lev. I love this book, and it's one of those great kind of pulpy ones, like the paper's yellow, the spine is cracked, and I guess I found some random person's notes, even though I've had this book forever, so that's a good book. Then over here, we have read books or vaguely read books. There's a little bit of everything. The only knickknack is a Saint candle that couldn't fit. So the first highlight is Grandpa's collection of Chekhov's short stories, which I've really enjoyed perusing, and then these 2 books, Water for Elephants and Paper Towns, which were for the YA class that I wound up having to drop. This is my favorite. This is James Mooney's History, Myths, and Sacred Rituals of the Cherokee, which my other grandparents gave to me. I love that type of thing, so that's a red book. Right beneath the red books are the blue books, and my collection of tiny Chichen-Itzas. So again, the only unifying theme here is that all of these books are blue, just like this really giant book of the collected works of Oscar Wilde, which I love. A lot of these are accidentally about religion, not including the Count of Monte Cristo. It's so cute, it's got gilded edges, it's pocket-sized, but my boyfriend was frustrated that it was abridged, so he gave it to me. And then this book, Nothing Daunted, is a series of letters from 2 city girls back in the Wild West who started a one-room schoolhouse on the frontier. So that's dope. And then the very last little corner actually happens to be organized accidentally by theme. Most of these have to do with like nature writing. They're sort of the same-ish color scheme, but we have all the Leopoldstown County Almanac from the Nature Writers class that I taught last fall. And then these are some kind of pulpy Mark Twain and American short story books I took from my dad. I've got my roommate's copy of Picnic Lightning, which is really cute, and I keep saying I need to finish before we move home. These 3 books my granny gave me. They are about women in the Appalachian Mountains. She also gave me this really cute collection of Willa Cather. And then 2 random books are this Reading the World anthology of critical theory and Galileo's Daughter from the library. So then, of course, next to the bookshelf is the research mountain that I mentioned, and then we have like some art, some prayer flags, and yeah, that's really about it for the bookshelf tour. Sometimes people like to give all the details of their bookshelf, but the rest of mine just involves makeup and Saint candles, so I'll just leave it at that. See you on the flippity flip!